you look at people's highlight reel and then you compare it to yourself when you're in the middle of the trenches and you've had just the worst day ever, and you see somebody's highlight reel and you're like, oh, they have such a perfect life and it's so beautiful. They have everything together and everything is just working for them. And here's me and my total mess. And this is awful and terrible. This is so hard. And how could it be this way? Do you want to achieve your goals, but anxiety is tripping you up? Like to keep those fun weekend plans, but depression has you counseling again? Hey, I'm Lori, dog mom, lover of nature, and hygge enthusiast. Positive psychology skills help me overcome chronic severe PTSD. If you're ready to learn how to overcome your anxiety and depression and rediscover happiness and purpose in life, then get your cozy on and let's get started. Welcome back to Practical Solutions for PTSD. Today's podcast should, emphasis on the should, be short. This is going to be one of those very rare ones that is straight off the cuff. I had some inspiration this last weekend. I want to be able to share it with you all today. And I debated between doing this on a podcast or doing it on my weekly newsletter, and the podcast won out. So here we are. And watch, I'll probably get to talking. It's going to run about the same length as most of the other ones are. But we'll see. It should be short, in theory at least. I did want to touch base with you, though. If you're one of those people that you feel like you're holding up a mask, or your operation on the outside looks really smooth, like people think you've got it together, you're doing really well, life is easy, you're doing good, but underneath you feel like you are literally barely holding on. You're barely functioning. You can hardly make it from one day to the next. And in the midst of all that, you're trying to figure out, how do I survive this day? How do I make it through the next week, the next month? I feel like I'm falling apart and I don't know what to do. And you can feel very alone and isolated in those moments. Well, I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. You definitely, please reach out and connect here, either in the community. Go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com/breakthrough. There's information there on how you can connect with me for a one-on-one coaching session. I can help you try to figure out how to put the pieces together, how to create some tools that will help you to personalize this process and to be able to do this in such a way that your system will respond the best, and to find your way out of the darkness back into the light, and to help you work through some of that stress and anxiety and be able to get a better handle on it, better control on it, and be able to face your days not feeling like you're falling apart on the inside, at least not as much. We're going to help you put you back together. So again, you can go to practicalsolutionsforptsd.com/breakthrough, schedule a coaching session with me. And if you're one of those people, you're like, I'm not really sure I'm ready for a coaching session, but I would like to have a little bit more encouragement, become an insider. And this is a fantastic way for you to connect. Just go to insider.grwebsite.com and sign up. You'll get weekly newsletters. And I'm telling you, this is the perfect podcast to see if you want to sign up for a newsletter. Because as I mentioned earlier, I was going to turn this topic into a newsletter and decided to do a podcast instead. So you're going to get a real good flavor and feel for how the newsletters are every week. I try to give you something inspirational, something that's thought-provoking, that helps you to move forward through your healing process. A little bit of a challenge, not a major one, but a little bit just to get you to thinking. But just some real life stories and lessons that God has taught me either through the week or in life or whatever it may be. And I share these in the weekly newsletter to my insiders. You also get some access to special deals and a lot of other stuff. But I really want to emphasize the newsletter side of this, because this podcast is basically a newsletter on podcast instead. It's going to be very similar. So just a really good opportunity for you to find out if this is something you would like to sign up for on a weekly basis. I promise I don't spam you. So if you send me your email address, I'm not going to just send you a bunch of junk in your email. But it'll be a great way for you to get connected with a community that cares about you, that will help walk you through this and provide a little more encouragement and inspiration for you and where you are right now in your journey. So if you're ready for it, definitely sign up for coaching. If not, then become an insider. Just go to insider.grwebsite.com and you can start getting these weekly emails. So, on to the topic that I want to talk to you about today. So, last weekend, I went down to one of our local parks here, and it's right along the Mississippi River. In fact, it's an island in the middle of the river, and it often floods in the spring. It's very common. Well, right now, the water is down. It's not 100% gone, but it is pretty low as far as off the island, and the river is still high, but it's getting lower. And I took the dogs out. I was dog sitting, took my dog and the dog I was dog sitting, went down to the river, and we were walking around. And we were walking up to this, I think it's called a lake, but it's really just a pond. It's a little bit of a body of water in the middle of the island. It was so beautiful. The sun was setting and it was reflecting off the water. It was behind some trees, so you had the trees silhouetted. You had some ducks flying around, some geese, and things. The animals were settling down for the night. The dogs were just having a blast. I was really enjoying it. It was so beautiful, and I was taking some pictures. Which, by the way, I'll be sharing these on the Facebook group. So if you want to look at them, you can go there. But I was sharing some pictures, or taking some pictures. And I'm like, man, this just looks like postcard perfect. And then I stopped taking pictures and looked down, and the grass was muddy where it had been flooding. So like way up on the grass had a lot of river mud on it. There was a smell because the Mississippi River is not exactly the cleanest river in the world. And so you had the smell that you get from floodwaters when that drain away. You had this really awful smell. It wasn't overpowering, but you could definitely pick up on it. I was keeping the dogs out of the pond because I did not want them smelling like the pond. It would have been awful. And it hit me like sometimes we can, in life, when we're facing a difficult time, or especially in this social media world where people post their highlight reel, and I'm just as guilty as anyone else. I'm not going to post pictures when I look a mess and my house is destroyed and the garden's just upside down. You post the nice pictures, right? So you look at people's highlight reel and then you compare it to yourself when you're in the middle of the trenches and you've had just the worst day ever, and you see somebody's highlight reel and you're like, oh, they have such a perfect life and it's so beautiful. They have everything together and everything is just working for them. And here's me and my total mess. And this is awful and terrible. This is so hard. And how could it be this way? And yet, if you were to look closer at that person's life, the person you're looking at their highlight reel, you would see the mud that's in their life just like yours. We all have those points in our life where the grass is covered with mud and it might have a little bit of a smell, because we all have struggles. We all have a hard time. Everybody has a story. Everybody's had a difficult time that they've gone through. And no, it's not going to look like yours. It may be completely different than the one that you're going through, but we all have them. And there may be someone that you're looking at and you're like, man, they have everything together. Everything comes easy for them. I just feel so intimidated when I look at them. I could never be the success that they are. You have no idea what battles they are facing behind closed doors and the difficulties that they're dealing with and the struggles that they're facing. And for those of us that walk with Christ, I have found this throughout my life. God gives you the grace that you need for the battles that you face. He does not give you the grace for someone else's battles. He gives you the grace for your battles. And so the other person that you're looking at their highlight reel and you're seeing this beautiful picture of their life, you may be feeling like, their life is so much more together, and they are conquering mountains and just walking through life, and it's all roses and it's all the beauty. You don't see the struggles that they're facing and the grace that God is giving them for the difficult time that they're dealing with. Everybody has a story. And you could also flip this around and think, you look at someone and they're facing really hard times. Like they're really traveling a difficult path, and they have very evident and obvious trials that they're going through that are pretty significant. And I often think about, one time when I was still working with the Army, we had a guest speaker come in, and in her early 20s, this young lady had been carjacked. And then the guy that carjacked her subsequently raped her, beat her with some car tool, I don't remember what it was, and left her for dead. yeah, she obviously survived because she was there telling her story, but the trauma from what happened and how she was dealing with it, she did not handle it well at first, and she ended up becoming an alcoholic, and her life was a mess. And at one point, she got arrested and was sitting in jail over the weekend. But it was there in that jail that God got a hold of her and turned her life around. So she had just told her story, and I was in the middle of going through some of my stuff with PTSD and burnout and other issues. But I was looking at her story, and I'm like, man, her story is so much worse than mine. And I was talking to her later, and I made the statement. I was like, I haven't been what you've been through, but I am struggling with, whatever issues. And she stopped me right in the middle of my sentence. And she said, Lori, pain is pain. It doesn't matter what flavor it is or what the story is behind it. Pain is still pain. So while you're looking at your life and you're thinking, man, I'm not going through anything near as bad as this person over here. So really I should be grateful and thankful for, what I have. And it is true that we need to be thankful for what we have. But in no way should you minimize the trials that you're going through. Because again, God gives grace for the trials that you're facing, not for the trials that someone else is facing. And I often think about the Chronicles of Narnia. For those of you that have listened to that, if you haven't, it's an awesome series. I really enjoy it. But there's one point in there where Lucy, one of the 4 children that's in the Chronicles of Narnia, Lucy's the youngest, and she's talking to Aslan the lion, and she says something to him about, well, I want to know what happens in Susan's life, or what would happen in this certain circumstance. And Aslan tells her, says, Lucy, that is not your business. It's not your story. And I'm not going to tell you because it isn't your story. This is sometimes we have to remember when we're looking at others around us. And it's a natural thing to do, to compare ourselves to the people to our left and right, because it gives us a standard, like, am I doing well? Am I doing bad? Am I doing, where am I in this world? We use those as reference points. And to a small degree, that's okay, as long as you don't let it get too carried away with that. But if you go too far in those reference points, you can either over glamorize the life of someone whose highlight reels look beautiful and yours does not, or at least when you're in the trenches, it doesn't. Your highlight reel is going to look just as beautiful to someone else. But when you're looking at someone's highlight reel and you look at yourself in the trenches, you're like, whoa, the disparity. Or on the flip side of that, when you're looking at someone else's pain and you think it's so much greater than your own, and that makes yours not really worthy of acknowledging. Both of those sets of circumstances, both of those comparisons can be very dangerous. And are really, God actually talks to us. You see this in the life of the disciples when after Jesus rose from the dead and and met them down at the Sea of Galilee, and they had breakfast together, and Jesus was talking to Peter, and Peter said, what about John? This other disciple of yours, what are you going to do about John? And Jesus said, that's none of your business. You don't need to know about John. You just need to know about yourself. You need to take care of yourself. So while, yes, we need frames of reference and something like that, but we need to understand if you are facing a difficult time, there is legitimacy in that. You need to acknowledge that, to work on that, and to accept that. It's so important that you don't minimize what you're going through by comparing it to someone else, or to feel like you're so far down the ladder because you're looking at someone else's highlight reel and you're not getting there. For those that you're thinking about the highlight reel, if you were to move in closer, you're going to see the mud from the flooded waters, the smell that may be left over, the sticks that are laying on the ground that are left over from the flood, or maybe that is still going on. If you were to look at their life more closely, you would see the trials and difficulties that they're going through, just like you are. And if you're looking at the other side, again, God gives you the grace for the trial that you're going through. He's not going to give you the grace for the trial someone else is going through. Everybody has a story. We all have a story. Everybody has the pain that they've gone through. Pain is pain. It all hurts. We all face those difficult times. We all face those trials. And we can all learn how to overcome them, or to work through them, or to manage them in one way or the other. God can help us through that. So Just like I do with my newsletters, I'm going to give you a challenge. Where in your life are you comparing yourself to someone or something else? Is there someone in your life that you think their highlight reel is just so beautiful and you could never achieve that? Or someone whose pain is so far greater than yours from your perception, their pain is so far greater that you should, quote, should be grateful and not be complaining about the pain that you're in. Where in your life are you comparing yourself to someone else? And is that really a fair comparison? Is it healthy? Is it helping you? Is your comparison hindering you from acknowledging the pain that you're in and healing from that and working through that? And then I also want to give you a God moment, which you also get in the newsletters. And I actually referenced it already. When Jesus was talking to Peter, he told Peter in relation to his question about John, "What is that to thee? Follow thou me." And that is an old King James version. But basically, he's telling him, what happens in John's life is not your business. You just need to follow after me and do what I tell you to do. So we need to keep our eyes on Christ and keep moving forward on the path that he has us on, not looking at the path that somebody else is on, because we don't know what trials that they're going through that they're not talking about. There could be difficulties that they're facing that we have no insight into. Keep your hand in God's. Keep looking up. And if you are facing those difficult times, please reach out. I mean, if you're not ready for the coaching, that's okay. Connect on Facebook. You can go to Overcome Depression and Anxiety. Use positive psychology to combat PTSD. Join us on the Facebook community. We just have lots of fun there. Hang out with like-minded people. If you enjoyed this podcast, this is very similar to what I do in the newsletters. Although the newsletters are shorter than what this would be if you were to narrate or to write the script out. The newsletters are shorter, but it's very similar. So you can go to insider.grwebsite.com to become an insider and join the community one way or the other. Get connected to other people of like mind that can come along beside you and support you in your journey of healing. Love y'all. I look forward to seeing you again next week. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. So once again, if you want to become an insider and receive weekly encouragement that is similar in format to this podcast, just go to insider.grwebsite.com and sign up now. Hey, my friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with someone you know who may be struggling with depression and anxiety? Also, would you please leave a quick review for the show? Knowing how this podcast is helping you fills my heart with so much joy, and it motivates me for future episodes. For now, it's time for Sam and I to head outside to enjoy some sunshine and fresh air. We'll see you back here on Tuesdays and Thursdays for more great episodes.